Hi, this is C.H.E.K. Lovely to share with you guys once again. I just got back from an awesome conference, the Paleo FX conference in Austin, Texas, and it was really, really cool. I love the people there, really high caliber people, very conscious people, very interested in health, athletic performance, and just a great joy to work with. And more fun for me than most of the exercise conferences I go to, because the people there seem to be at a high enough level of understanding to really appreciate the things that I was sharing and ask very, very intelligent questions as well. So today I'd like to just share sort of a list of all the things that I did and some of the highlights, and show you some video clips where we have them, so you can get all excited about going to Paleo FX next year, where I will be presenting once again and hopefully offering some even longer sessions. It was a 3-day event, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event, and my first event was Primal Pattern Eating, Identifying Your Individual Needs Meal to Meal, which was a very miniaturized version of my Primal Pattern Eating webinar that you can access at CHEK Institute.com. And that's normally an 8-hour training program, which gives you a good taste of what we teach in Holistic Lifestyle Coach Level 2. But I did a 55-minute shrunk down version, taught some of the key points, and people really seemed to enjoy that and like my approach to the fact that there is no right diet for anyone. We all have unique needs, and I shared several methods for how to identify your own unique dietary needs from meal to meal, so you can live and love fully. What I want you to know is that these things are all systems or ways of relating to food, and when you're eating, you should always pay attention to these things. So right now, if I gave you all, so let's say I had the new superfood drink, and I told you it would, make your hair grow, increase your sex drive, and double your best performance in whatever sport you want. You'd say, well, shit, let's try that thing. These are the things you should be paying attention to in your body as soon as you put anything in your body. What does it do to your sense of energy flow? How does it affect your body temperature? My next event was I gave a keynote presentation, The Last 4 Doctors You'll Ever Need, How to Get Healthy Now, and I had a great time, and people really loved that presentation. I was so touched in the heart by the number of people that came up to me and shared their feelings about what they learned and how amazed they were, and how they said, many of them said to me, Paul, it's so obvious and so simple. It's like, how come I didn't get it till now? Some of them said it was just a mind-altering, life-changing experience to sit through that presentation. And that presentation's still available to those of you that might want to see that keynote address through Paleo FX. So hopefully Penny can share on the screen where you can find that if you'd like to go watch that. I got a lot of positive comments because people thought it was great that I sang and danced on stage. So I'll leave that surprise for you if you want to watch it. Know that if you keep your heart connected and you trust the universe, that things that you think are terrible turn out to be doors to opportunities. And that's how great inventions come. Okay, this didn't show up, what are we going to do? Let's everybody sit here and meditate on this. Someone comes up with $1 billion idea, like an iPhone or some damn thing, That's how this stuff happens. So I find that if we give ourselves enough time to not be so serious and not attach ourselves to an outcome, when I paint, if I don't like the painting, I just burn it. Or start again, just paint over it and say, that was fun, but I'll just do it again. Let's see what happened next. Then that evening we had a speaker's dinner at the Paleo FX headquarters. There was a lot of amazing people there. I got to meet Dr. McCullough for the first time in person. I've had various conversations with him by phone and email over the years, and our collaborations. I've written some things and shared with him over the years, but so it was nice to meet him in person. I got to hang out with Ben Greenfield and say hello to him and spend some time catching up, and I ran into quite a lot of people, and a number of CHEK professionals were there as well. On Saturday, I had a workshop titled Roll, Wiggle, Walk, Crawl, and Jump Pain-Free, where I taught how to use infant development exercises and how to progress an exercise, either to make it easier or harder, but really how to use the science of infant development to enhance your overall motor skills and body-mind integration. And I had several people in the class who had had problems like back pain, SI joint pain, and those types of things that they said that had not been able to get rid of for years, that were completely gone after doing the class. So some of them were quite emotional about that and quite excited. So that was fun. My next workshop was Big Bang exercises, where I taught how to use exercise specifically so you can get the most out of the exercise in a short period of time, by learning how to integrate planes of movement using different types of strategies for enhancing the balance challenge of an exercise, looking at things like biomotor abilities and various concepts like that. And people really enjoyed that too, and I had fun. Then I finished that day with Fitness for the Rest of Us Mastermind panel, where I got to share the stage with several experts. One of them was Eva Twardokens, I believe is how her name is pronounced. She's been a multiple-time Olympic skier and just an amazing, beautiful woman. Loved sharing the panel with her and the others. We got into all sorts of important things about how to use exercise intelligently and how to be more consistent and how to listen to your body. And there was some very good questions from people in the audience.
But most people, if they're lucky, exercise once a day. It's important to remember most people eat 3 times a day. And if you're eating a poor quality diet and foods that inflame your body, you radically increase the risk of exercise being very uncomfortable and even getting injured. So if you don't like to exercise, start by getting your diet right, because someone who eats well doesn't need nearly as much exercise to look good and feel good as someone who doesn't eat well. And the more out of balance your diet is, the more dangerous exercise becomes, and even movement. I mean, I get people that injure themselves getting out of a chair because they're so full of inflammation, that the body's so hot, especially women, at various phases of their menstrual cycle, they have too many estrogens in the body, they get very loose in the joints, pelvic girdle, SI joint, back, neck. So this is about exercise, but we can't keep dividing exercise as though it's something all by itself. Just like you have to have the right mental, emotional status. If someone goes into the gym angry, they're likely to get hurt. If someone goes into the gym after eating a bunch of gluten and they're gluten intolerant, they're likely to get hurt. So the same way we want to know how to progress ourselves with exercise, it's important to remember that you can eat yourself into trouble in a gym.
Then on Sunday, the 29th, I started my day with another panel called Solid Relationships, Great Sex, and You. That was quite fun. There were some really amazing people on the panel. I don't remember all their names, but one of them is a sex doctor, and she really enjoyed what I shared and asked me if I would be interested in doing a webinar with her. So look for that in the future. We'll be doing something together, it sounds like, and I'm excited because she had some excellent commentary there. And Kaayla Daniels, who wrote The Whole Soy Story, was at the conference and on this panel, and she had some beautiful wisdom to share as well. And we got into some of the very important things that people overlook about relationships, such as the importance of loving yourself first and not expecting your partner to be responsible for making your day perfect or meeting your sexual needs and or being everything you should be for yourself. And we got into a lot of neat stuff about relationships and about sex and ways to enhance your sex life as you age and mature in relationships, or as you age in general. So it was really quite fun. Then I had a great meeting with Amanda Wee and her partner Simon from Pique tea. They make this awesome tea in a crystallized form. You don't use a tea bag. They actually distill the crystals out of the tea and get it right down to its essence. And then you can put this pour these crystals right into your cup, and you use a little bit lower heat so it doesn't kill the enzymes and the micronutrition in it. And you know, I'm not a person who toots the horn for other people unless their products are really good, but they sent me some samples, and boy, the first time I tried it and took a sip, I was just, wow, there is so much energy and power in this stuff. And then at lunch, we had a really cool panel from 12:10 to 1:15 on Sunday, Psychedelics Exploring Consciousness Mastermind panel. And I got to meet Dennis McKenna, who's been one of my heroes, him and his brother Terrence. I've studied their work for many, many years, probably 15 years, read lots of books by Terrence, and studied countless documentaries with Dennis in them, and seen various psychedelic conferences with Dennis presenting. And we had some very, very good discussions about the things people need to be aware of with the now happening psychedelic craze, and what's the difference between recreational use and spiritual use. What are the kinds of things that happen when you're in a properly run shamanic journey. Talked about the importance of integration, and the people on the panel, which included Aubrey Marcus, shared a lot of great wisdom with the crowd, as well as Dennis McKenna. I also got to purchase a copy of Dennis McKenna's new book about his life with Terrence McKenna, which I've already read a fair bit of and had a great look through. And I was really excited to be able to be the first guy to buy his new book at the conference, and share one of my books with him too. And while I was at the conference, I did a podcast with Mike Bledsoe from Barbell Shrugged, who's branching off and doing his own podcast on more deeper, more intimate issues and things like the use of plant medicines and intimacy in relationships. So we had a great podcast right there in the trade show area, believe it or not. It was a bit hectic in there, but he had some real high quality directional mics, and we had a good conversation for well over an hour. So that was fun, and thank you, Mike, for sharing with me. And before I get into the other podcasts, CHEK Level 4 practitioner Aleks Rybchinskiy, he put on he did a couple of workshops at Paleo FX, one on shoulder training and one on conscious training for athletes. And while he was there, he entered the Onnit Jiu-Jitsu competition, which was very big. There was competition Jiu-Jitsu matches going on pretty much the whole time the conference was on, and a lot of people in it. And Aleks got a gold medal and a silver medal in a different category, and I was really impressed with Alex's accomplishments.
Oh, finish.
His partner, Sarah Gustafson, did one called Pain-Free Performance, and she's amazing too. And she's also an HLC3 practitioner and very, very skilled. And she also contributed to the death of the American male panel, and I'm sure she had plenty to say about that. So she's another great resource for you in the Austin, Texas area. That is Sarah Gustafson, if you want to track her down for your own reasons to get help. And I also did a podcast with the Mind Pump media team. It was my third podcast with these guys, and every one of them's been fantastic. So it was great to see Adam, Sal, Justin, and Doug, and they rented this beautiful big house in a lovely part of Austin, and we did over 2 hours together, and we got into the depth of many, many of the important issues, from spiritual development to God and religion and health and the state of the world, and you know, the challenges of the modern era of technology and internet and phones and all the media exchanges, and how people are getting consumed by it, and how I have been challenged by all that stuff, and see my students getting challenged it and how they handle it. And we got into a lot of really good stuff. So if you're into podcasts, you want to check out the Mind Pump Media podcast that'll be coming out between me and them. They're a great team of guys, really fun. And they hit me with some deep stuff on this one. I got to give them credit. And then I finished our trip. Penny and I went to Onnit, and we did another podcast with Aubrey Marcus. Our last podcast was a big hit, and we've had a number of people taking our courses because they were so moved by the podcast I did with Aubrey, and Aubrey's had loads of positive feedback as well. Many people say it's the best podcast they've ever listened to in their whole life. I've got too many emails to count from people all over the world telling me that. So Aubrey and I went further and went deep again and got into a lot of really important issues about spiritual growth and development and the challenges of love and relationship and some of the challenges we face in the world. I then did a podcast with one of my most beloved friends and somebody who I really love and respect, which is Kyle Kingsbury, who's also a CHEK professional, and he's the head of Onnit's Health and Performance Division, and his podcast was our second podcast together. And normally he deals with athletic issues, health and performance issues, but this time he hit me with a surprise. He really wanted me to get into the issues that we're now dealing with the health of our soils, the soils that feed us, and asked me to explain, what's going on with the soil. How does the soil work? Why is it important to us? What do we need to know about now as a populace of people so that we can protect ourselves, our future, our children? And we got very, very deep into the issues of the soil and the things that we need to know about and some of the challenges, which really gave a great preface for my upcoming Earth Warrior series that I'm doing in concert with Food Democracy Now. And I'm working on that series now, and it should be out in the next few weeks. So keep your eyes open for the Earth Warrior series, where I'll really be sharing the current statistics and some of the issues we need to be aware of, and a lot of information about the dangers of Monsanto's weed killer called Roundup and how it's poisoning our food supply, and many, many other things you need to know about. And I'll invite you to become an Earth Warrior and gain access to a lot of scientific research and a lot of resources that you can use. And I can't say enough about the PaleoFX conference. I really encourage you to go check out their website. All their keynote addresses are available to be looked at even now. I think some of the panel discussions were also filmed. I know that the one on psychedelics that I spoke about was filmed. And I really think that they did a fantastic job. They did not allow any garbage food to be sold in the trade show area. They had very strict limitations on what could be shared there. So there was a tremendous number of great snacks. There was a lot of functional conditioning stuff there. Mike Salemi also did some great presentations there, and he did some podcasts while we're there too. And those of you that follow my blog know that I coached Mike for about 2.5 years, and he's now one of the top, most highly respected kettlebell athletes in the world. And he's developed his own training system, so he was teaching people about that and giving them workshops. And we then met up, and Eli, who is our genius film expert, met with us at Onnit. Mike and myself and Eli and a few of the other guys that we met at the conference and we're working with were hanging out at the Onnit gym after my podcast, and we had just an amazing time visiting each other and working out. So I hope you enjoyed sharing with me today. I look forward to sharing more with you. Look into the PaleoFX conference. Look to see what you can get online through streaming video or recorded video, and consider that next year. And I look forward to sharing my Earth Warrior series and more exciting blogs coming up as we move forward. Thanks for joining me. Look forward to seeing you soon.